Welcome back, everybody. So guys, we just talked about a lot of CSS a lot of times. Now I just wanted to just end up the CSS things, and I just want to start the JavaScripting. Then we'll be able to just go over the our main target, the serverless programming. For now, we're just learning the basis, how we can just work on it, and what are the requirements. I just wanted to teach you from the zero, so this is why I'm just teaching you the HTML and the CSS. Basically, these things are not actually the part of this the serverless programming. These are the simple rendering and styling techniques. So we're just learning about it. So we will be able to work on the serverless programming, so on. So there is our page, our code editor. I'm going inside the Sublime, and here is the index.html. So we have the CSS in style.css. Okay, we've talked about the transformation, the dimensions. We've talked about a lot of things we've just covered, but there is a very interesting thing we didn't talk about yet, so I'm going to talk about that, and then we will just end up the CSS. So we'll be able to work on the real-time programming. Then you will be able to just learn the serverless programming. By the way, I'm going to the code editor here, and first of all, I'm just going to see where are these things. This is a paragraph. I'm just going to make another paragraph. I'm going to the index.html. So this is a paragraph. I'm just making another one, the P, and here the third, or we already have two paragraphs. So now the second paragraph is not as cool as it should be. So it's cool, by the way, but it's not in a look we need. I'm deleting that. I'm just putting that there right after this is a paragraph, another P, and another paragraph is here. Whatever I just got in my mind, I just put it. So here for the main P, I'm just going to the style.css. There is nothing for the main P, so I'm just going there, and I'm just putting something like a class basic para, whatever I got in my mind, I just put it. I'm just putting the same things in both classes. I can put different things too, but for now I'm just putting the same things. Okay, I'm going there, and I'm just making a new the new class here, the basic para, and then going inside, and then I'm just putting some color here like that, the background, and the background I'm just putting something. Okay, I don't want that. I don't want to buy that for now. I'll buy later by the way. So the background, the basic para, and inside that, well, I just want to clear one thing that you've seen a lot of times, the purchasing thing of the Sublime. This is not necessary to purchase. It's still free to use, but they just ask you to purchase. This is a kind of donation method. So if you just want to pay them the thanks that they did a good work and you liked it, so you can pay them. But you should buy it, by the way, no problem. But they're still providing it in free. That means the payment things is all about the donation. So if you just really like it, you should buy it. So it will help them a lot. So by the way, I'm just talking about the background of the basic para. I'm just putting something like blue, or I'm just putting light blue, whatever I just got in my mind. Again, going to the browser, refreshing that, and there are two paragraphs we've got. So next thing is floating, float left. Both are floated to left. Go there and refresh that. Now what is this? What is this thing? It just came inside that. Now you can see that this one is the third paragraph, and this one is the second paragraph, and these are two paragraphs just above the second paragraph, and these are basic paras, but they're now inside that one. I just applied this property of the float left. I'm not going to talk about different kind of properties, that how you can install the table, how can you install the form. I'm just talking about the basics of the CSS. So in this way, you will be able to work on work a lot in the next in the future classes. And if you just want to learn about how you can stylize the table, you can Google them. You just can know about these things. The base is again the serverless technology, and you're just reaching that. So I'm not gonna make you stuck in CSS stuff a lot, that how these things works and why, and basic coloring. Like I'm not gonna talk about how you can stylize the table. Instead, you can that you just directly can apply the background to apply an etc. So we're on the basic para, the float left. I applied the float left here. This is a another paragraph, and this is another paragraph is here. I'm putting in a space here to it, so at least we'll be able to understand where the paragraph is ending. Refresh that, so now we can see that it should be ended there, but it's not getting ended. Why? Refresh that. Well, for now the actual problem is not spacing. The actual problem is why it's there. So floating, what is the floating? I told you that the paragraph or the headings or the div is the thing we didn't talk about. Okay, got things in my mind. In the next class I'll be covering the div, and then we'll be ending it. Okay, so these are the block level elements. So block level element is the element which has the line break before and after the element. So where are the is the line break after that and after that, and even this is now inside that one, and before that there is no line break. So because they just put it the floating. What is the floating? Actually, you know, these surfaces, you know, the basic logic of surfaces. Just suppose you're riding in your car, and you're riding the car in the road. So you know, you've taken a place in a road, so you can have a car or a motorbike right before you, right after you, or at the right side of you or the left side of you, but not at the place of you. Okay, not at the place of you, because you're on a place. But an aeroplane, a helicopter, or a drone can be at the place of your car, but at the top, you know, the top and bottom. These things can be at the top and the bottom, but not at actually at your place, but at the top of yours, at the bottom of yours, at the right side of yours, at the left side of yours. The block level element is just like you're riding a truck, a big truck. Okay, so nothing can be and the big truck is covering the whole road, so nothing can be at the right side and the left side. Okay, but you're just using the floating. So now things can be at your left side, at your right side, at your front, at your left and right side, and top and bottom already things are there. But at the you can now put things at the right side, at the left side. Now things can cross you if they need. But what is the meaning that this thing is actually at the top of this, not right or left, but at the top of this red color giant? Because we just put it the float, we just made these elements floated. So now these are at not in a surface of the same surface of this element has. They are now, just suppose they are now became drones, so now they can be at the top of this element, the second paragraph's body element. Okay, now instead of they are not on a road, they are became the drone, they just changed the surface. Now if you put, you can see that these both paragraphs has the floating elements. These both are floating elements now, but you know, they both are at the top of the second paragraph's body, but they both are not at the top of each other, because this is another surface they got, and this is another surface. So this is the logic. Two drones if try to take the place of each other, they have to change another surface to be at the top or bottom of each other, but they can be left or right side, just like the cars can have. But a drone and a car can be top and bottom, because the drone is another surface, has another surface, just like that the floating elements now has another surface. So according to the second paragraph, these elements doesn't exist on the same surface. This is why actually this took the place of them. Understand? I think this is pretty simple, that this took the space. Now all these elements doesn't know if they are still exist at the place, but you know why the text is still visible and why the text is now there instead of being there? Because the text is the only thing which has the basic policy to be shown, you know, in every condition. So if you just put image there, they will be still visible, so that's why they're just giving this space. But if we talk about the general elements, like the, you know, the divs, the paragraphs, the headings and etc, so they just don't know now about them because they are on another surface. So, and they're still on their place, but it just took their place. And now they don't care because they're on another surface, just like the drone. Just suppose they are drones and this is the car, so they are at the top of the car, and they can be, but a truck cannot be at the top of another truck. So I think things are clear. Now they are the front of each other because they both are floated. So now they are not block level elements. They are still block level elements, but they are now floated. So now if you just want to put a space between them, you have to use the height, or actually the width, because the element the another element is just at the right side or the left side of them. So the width I'm just putting around 300 pixels. Save it. Now go to the browser, refresh that. I refreshed that and you can see that they had some space between them. You can see that, and the space after that, because the width, I just put it the width of the each element. Also, this is not necessary to make both of them like basic para. You can make another one float right too. If I just go there and if I just apply to the second, another para is something like this style, float right. Okay, because I applied the inline style to this one, so the internal or the external design will not be working on it. Specifically this element will not be getting from the basic para anymore, this paragraph, because I just applied this directly to there. Refresh that. Now you can see that it's now at the completely right side and this is on the completely left side, but they both are the still like drones, and this is like a bus, or you can say the truck. So they are at the top of them. But if you just want them to be shown, to be visible, so you have to do one thing. You can do one thing right after the floated elements, as much as the elements you've made right after the floated element, like there. I just put a line break and I'm just putting a div here. The div is just like a divider. Div is nothing. Div has no style. Like P is a paragraph, H1 is the heading, and H1's text must be capital. Oh sorry, not the capital but the big one. But the div is nothing. Div is just simply like a divider, but the actual quality of the div is it's the divider, so it can receive any style from the CSS easily, because the paragraph has some by default styles. The H1 has some by default style like font size big and etc, but the div has nothing like that. So I'm just going inside that, I'm just going there, I'm just putting something like I'm not putting anything, I'm just directly going there and I'm just applying the style here. I can do the same thing in a CSS, any external CSS, but I'm doing this, so no problem. Clear both. I'm just telling clear both means clear the anything at the top. So now clear, after putting the property of clear both, these element will be in a place and this will leave them, because now these are the elements who are not in the same surface, but this is now actually getting the spaces of them and telling it to give them places. So refresh that. Now you will see, now you can see that they both now has a space, and this is now goes to bottom. It is still can't see them, but it can see the clear both, and clear both can see them. So clear both is referring it to just go down and give them the spaces. So this is what happening here, and these are the floated elements. So I think you just understood them, and I think we can just go to the next class. So stay tuned and goodbye.